This is the time and place for a city commission meeting here in South Dakota on May 2nd, 2022. Roll call, please.
Smith.
Here.
Clute. Oh, man, I'm in the wrong meeting.
That's it, shows up like that.
Oh.
Tells you, I'm looking right at it. All right, Smith.
Still here.
Heinrich.
Here.
Craig.
Here.
Robish.
Present.
Mayor Harrington.
Here.
Mayor.
Join me in the pledge of allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First up tonight, we're going to have our financial director, Pauline Carey, swear in our city commissioner, Brian Smith.
I'm going to read the oath.
Okay.
Says I, Brian Smith, do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of South Dakota, and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of Commissioner in and for the City of Huron, Beetle County, South Dakota, according to the best of my abilities, and that I am not under direct or indirect obligation to appoint or elect any person to any office, position, or employment under the government of the City of Huron. Congratulations.
All right, thank you.
You're married now again.
I did it again.
Eleni's happy she doesn't have to worry about updating her form.
Yeah.
Same situation.
That's right. Thank you.
Well, thanks for running again, Brian. Appreciate having you back.
Thank you.
Really do.
Appreciate it. Thank you for the support.
Okay, we're going to consider the approval of agenda. Is there any additions, deletions, or corrections to the agenda anybody knows of?
I would move to approve the agenda. as
I have
presented.
one addition.
Oh,
I'll
well,
give
then I
you
won't.
a chance. I do have one addition tonight. We have addition for the consent agenda, and it's going to be 7.11. It's going to be a wage correction for Tomlin Toy.
Still happy with that, Mark?
I would move that with that amendment.
Okay.
I'll second it.
Commissioner Roberts, motion to move, and second, Commissioner Gray. Okay, roll call vote on this item, please.
Smith.
Aye.
Weinreich.
Aye.
Craig.
Aye.
Robish.
Aye.
Mayor Harrington.
Aye. Public forum, number 4, public forum, please, public comments may be sent to during the live meeting broadcast on the city's YouTube channel. The link is listed on the city's website at www.huronsd.com/citygovernment. In order to use the YouTube chat feature, please create an account with your YouTube and Gmail or use your existing accounts. Please state your name and address for the record. Public forum is limited to a maximum of 3 minutes per person. And tonight we have our HR director, Nathan Hofer, is back on the computer. So if you have any questions you want to call, use Facebook to ask the question. We will try to attempt to answer them tonight as best we can. So with that, do we have any public forum from the commission? Okay, I'll just wait for the commission. Okay. Okay, anybody from the public? Rob Rieger, our water superintendent, is going to give us some information.
Rob Reeder, City here, and Water Sewer Superintendent. I just want to remind everybody that now that it rained, we need to remove our sump pumps from the sanitary sewer. We got, I heard a little over 2.5 inches. We had a couple lift stations we had some issues with over the weekend due to the rain. And it's warm enough now, barely. Well, most mornings it's warm enough. But the city ordinance says by April 1st. So if everybody could do that, the sewer department would greatly appreciate that. That's all I got.
All right, thanks, Rob. Appreciate that. Good information. Okay, at this time, 4.1, we're going to give a proclamation now. So, get over there so we can all be heard. And we'll have Balloon and Beverly Bigley come on. Hallelujah. Okay. Look over here.
Okay, sure.
Hey, bud. Hey, bud. Here, here. This is a proclamation for National Music Week. Whereas the music plays an increasingly important role in our world today, and whereas music is one of the most sublime human pursuits and is subscribed by all races and creeds, and whereas music is the language of all people and one of the greatest forces in creating peace and harmony, and whereas the National Federation of Music Clubs, dedicated to encouraging young musicians to increase musical knowledge and to avoid advancing American music, and cooperating organizations join forces to direct attention to the dynamic influence of music in our everyday living. Now therefore be resolved that I, Gary Harrington, Mayor of City of Huron, South Dakota, hereby claim the week of May 1st through the 8th, 2022, National Music Week in Huron, and ask that all citizens in the community observe and take part in activities recognizing the importance of music, musicians, musical organizations to the culture of life for our city, state, nation, and world. In witness, I have hereby added my name and my hand and caused the seal of the City of Huron to be affixed on the 2nd day of May in the year of our Lord to 2022. Sealed by Gary Harrington, the City Mayor. Thanks, Barb. I appreciate all you do for the city with our music. Thanks, Berkeley. And so we do appreciate that. And AB. Oh, we got people taking pictures.
Okay. 1, 2, 3.
All right. You're dismissed. Okay, very good. Okay, what we got here? All right. Moving along, number 5, City Commissioner adjourns to convene as the Board of Adjustments for the following public hearings. And with that, I'm going to call on our city planner, Barry Cranston, to start out with 5.1, explain what this variance is.
Yes. Thank you, Mayor. This is a variance request filed by Tyler Whiff at the project address of 1676 Utah Southeast to construct a 6-foot tall fence where code states that on corner lots, a 6-foot fence may also be constructed within the rear yard adjacent to the side street when such yard does not constitute a front yard of an abutting lot in an area zoned R1. Basically, the code says that this area is to be, they can only have 4-foot fences, and the side, it's essentially a side front yard in this case. And so, Mr. Tyler is here. Tyler, if you want to come up.
Good evening.
Say your name, address, Tyler, please.
Tyler Whiff, 1676 Utah Avenue Southeast.
Okay, thank you.
So, at the project basically is, based on the premise that he's got one small child, he's got one on the way, he has large dogs on either side of his house. One is a large German Shepherd to the east, and there is no fencing available, and so the small children, he is asking, and given the size of the yard to the east, it's a fairly small area, he's asking that he be allowed to use a 6-foot fence to kind of enlarge the property area. He would stop basically short of where the south property line is. You were talking, how far were you going to be to this, off the sidewalk there?
About a foot off is, I think,
Okay,
what we
right.
discussed would
Okay.
be appropriate.
Okay. And then, so the hearing examiner heard this and went through this with Tyler, and he considered, basically the facts of the matter, and he recommended approval, as did myself. The building inspector, for the record, did recommend denial of the variance. He felt that there was not a just reason for the variance.
I want to get a motion to approve before we get into asking questions to Tyler.
Move to approve.
Moved to approve, Commissioner Smith, second, Commissioner Weinrich, okay. Roll call vote on that.
Want questions?
Oh, yeah, questions, and yeah. That's what we did it. Any questions for Tyler on this thing?
I would have some.
Yeah, go ahead, Commissioner.
Thank you, Mayor. Tyler, is this, how many directions are you going around the yard there with this?
Basically, it'll make kind of like a horseshoe shape. It'll go from the southeast corner of the house, kind of on the south side of the house, out to the sidewalk to the south, east along the sidewalk to the corner of the lot, and then back north, and then to the back of the garage, back to the west, is how it would lay out. Just to kind of, that way I can fence the whole backyard in using the garage and the house, and have completely for the,
So that it would all be 6 feet. The only thing we're really questioning is along 14th.
Yeah, along
Madison
Madison
Boulevard.
Boulevard there.
Madison, sorry.
Yeah, it's, by code, that would normally be required to be 4 feet.
But so you could do 6 feet on the backyard, so
Right.
for a refresher, what is the purpose of not allowing that side yard to be?
And the, typically, in Huron, our ordinance reads that it's considered the side yard in his case is considered a front yard because the neighbor's yard faces, that abuts his property faces the same direction, and so the neighbors, in this case, one of them that has a big dog, he would normally, could potentially be obstructing their front view. And so that's why they normally would be required to put in a 4 foot. We have had several occasions where we've done 6 foot before, and they're kind of varying in purpose and reason, and so this was kind of a safety concern. That's what concerned me the most as the planner, is the small children with the large dogs in the neighborhood, so.
Were there any comments from any neighbors?
No, there were no comments at all, for or against. I think you talked to your neighbor, Terry, neighbor to the east is Terry Pratt, I believe. And,
he's in full support of it.
yeah,
Yep, so. That would be in my eyes, the one that would be
Right.
affected most
yeah, I
by
think
it.
the house to the north is a rental, I believe, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
I guess I would be in favor of, because it's to the guy putting up the fence, it's a side yard. I understand it's not to this, but it's not obstructing a whole lot on that side.
Well, in that
Even to the
particular-
neighbor to the east.
Yeah, I feel, if you put a 6 foot fence down the back property line,
Mhm.
that would obstruct the view anyway.
More.
The part of that extra 6 foot fence along Madison, at that point, kind of becomes immaterial in this particular
Mhm.
layout. So,
Right.
yeah, that's where I think it would also qualify as a variance.
Any other questions for Tyler? Seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Smith,
Aye.
Weinreich,
Aye.
Wright,
Aye.
Robish,
Aye.
Mayor Harrington.
Aye. Thanks, Tyler.
Thank you, guys.
Matt?
Okay, just stop in the office when you're ready to do your permit. We need to know just how many lineal feet.
Will do.
Thank you, guys. Thanks, Tyler.
Good one.
Yeah, don't forget to pay.
Okay, moving on to 5.2. Gary, what is that?
Yes, this variance is a request filed by Fire Pit Pizzeria for a sign. This was kind of a dead technicality. You know, unfortunately, we have a clearance, and our clearance is a little higher than some communities, is my understanding. We have a minimum clearance for signage above the sidewalk to be 12 feet. So this sign location would be 11 feet 4 inches. And simply because if he went any higher, he'd be into the roof line of the building. So they're tucked up as high as they can go, and the bottom of the sign is higher than the awnings that are pre-existing there. So I didn't have any problem with it, I didn't see any issue. It does give them a little bit more visibility and makes, that helps their business to be a little more successful. And so I recommended approval, and the hearing examiner did as well. So with, let's see, we didn't have any comments on this particular variance as well. There were no pros or opponents, so I'd recommend approval.
Just a quick, very might note that DOT approved as well.
Oh, yes, yes, correct. DOT had approved this for their right-of-way, given, especially given the upcoming project coming in 23, 24. So, thank you, Colin.
I would move to approve the variance.
Second.
Commissioner Brand moves to approve, second, Mr. Rovers. Any other question for this item? Seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Smith.
Aye.
Weinreich.
Aye.
Wright.
Aye.
Robish.
Aye.
Mayor Harrington.
Aye. Okay, moving on to the consent agenda, which is rather large tonight. Perhaps out of order.
Thanks, Rick.
Okay, consent matters appearing on the consent agenda are expected to be non-controversial and will be acted upon by the commission at one time without discussion unless a member of the commission requests an opportunity to address any given item. Items removed from the consent agenda will be discussed at the beginning of the formal items. 7.1, regular minute meetings of April 25th, 2022, City Commission. 7.2, special meeting minutes of the April 27th, 2022, special City Commission meeting. 7.3, fuel quotes by city departments. 7.4, designating the official newspaper for the City of Huron, official newspaper designation. 7.5, list of official depositories for the City of Huron. 7.6, raffles. Child care professionals of South Dakota at the Huron Event Center. Huron, number 2, Huron Little League at Memorial Ballpark. 7.7, set May 16th as the public hearing date to consider 2022-23 malt beverage and South Dakota farm wine licenses. 7.8, special event on sale alcohol beverage license filed by Ryan's Hangar Restaurant and Lounge for the Canaries baseball game, May 7th at Memorial Baseball Park. 7.9, personnel items. Recommend the hiring of Kathy Arnold for the part-time custodial work for the Park and Recreational Department. Number 2, recommend hiring Titus Pickrell to be lifeguard at Splash Central. Number 3, recommend hiring Tomlin Toy for a 9/11/11 technician position. And 7.10, payment of the bills. 7.11 is wage correction for Tomlin Toy for the 9/11 telecommunication position, grade 12, step B, at $19.76 an hour, effective 5/10/22, for being a certified 9/11 telecommunicator. Those are the consent agenda for this evening. I entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Commissioner Weinrich, motion to approve. Need a second?
Second.
Second, Commissioner Smith. Roll call vote, please.
Smith.
Aye.
Weinreich.
Aye.
Wright.
Aye.
Robish.
Aye.
Mayor Harrington.
Aye. Okay, 8, bid quotes. 8.1, Assistant City Engineer Dennis Bennett here is to explain 8.1.
Thank you, Mayor and Commissioners. This change order is for Mission Court. We were planning on doing Beach Avenue water main replacement anyway. And after we got the flow study back from HR Green, the fire flow in that court was affected dramatically, so we decided it would be in our best interest to do it all at once. And we'd like to change order that on for $47,063.
Okay, motion to approve.
Move to approve.
Commissioner Smith moves to approve, need a second.
Second.
Second, Commissioner Bragg. Any questions for Dennis on this item?
May I have a question?
Yes,
Mayor?
Commissioner Smith.
Maybe I missed it, Dennis, but when would that normally have been scheduled to be?
We had it scheduled down the road like 15 years or something like that, I forget what it was, but after seeing the fire flow numbers, wouldn't have been comfortable setting that long on
And those are reduced because of the
it. The type of pipe,
type of pipe?
the ACP asphalt concrete pipe has a pebbled surface, and that causes turbidity that reduces the flow, so something we weren't fully aware of.
What's that word?
Turbidity.
Any other questions for Dennis? Okay, good to go, have a roll call vote, please.
Smith.
Aye.
Weinreich.
Aye.
Bragg.
Aye.
Robish.
Aye.
Mayor Harrington.
Aye. 8.2, Dennis, please.
Okay, this is for our asphalt, bituminous oil, road oil for the chip seals and stuff. As we've all noticed, the oil prices are crazy. And we had $119,115 budgeted for this. Just for the oil, the bid came in at $157.39.55. Luckily, we have, our 2 tanks were full from last year, we filled them. So we can, use our reserves this year. And we will not go over budget this year, is the plan to do it. But next year, we will have to budget more for rock and oil because we will be out of everything, so. Recommend approval, and we will not go over budget.
Need a motion to approve.
Move to approve 8.2.
Commissioner Weinrich moves to approve, need a second.
Second?
Commissioner Smith, second. Dennis, so how much of this 157 are we gonna use this year?
We'll use probably about $90,000 worth of oil this year, because that also includes the rock we use for the chip seal.
Okay, so that would include the 2 full tanks over here.
That we would use
Okay.
already, that has been paid for,
Yeah.
correct?
So we'll save about 90,000 out of that bid, okay.
Yeah, we just won't use the excess.
Yeah. Any questions? Yes, Commissioner Rogers.
Dennis, I've been meaning to do this and I haven't done, how'd that turn out down there on McDonald Drive on that? When we chip sealed and we put another.
Oh, when we fog sealed it?
Yes,
Nice, it looked good, and
I know it looked good last year when we
yeah,
did it.
it still does. Now, that is a different type of oil.
Oh, it is.
This is MC 3000, and that's SS 12 or something like that. So it's a different oil, it sets up at a different rate and does a different purpose, so.
So will we do both, or will we stay with this?
Well, Bob had a little money left last year out of budget, that's why we filled our tanks. And we had enough to buy the oil from asphalt paving to do that. So I would like to do it this year, but the money's probably not gonna be there.
I see. Yeah, I haven't been down there lately, and I guess I wanted to
Still
be.
looks good, I was there today and looked. So,
Okay, thanks.
yep.
Any other questions? Seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Smith.
Aye.
Weinreich.
Aye.
Bragg.
Aye.
Robish.
Aye.
Mayor Harrington.
Aye. Moving on to departmental items. Tonight, we're going to appoint our officers and reappoint their city commissioners to their liaisons. So I'll go through those. Appointment of the officers for May 2nd, 2022. Airport manager Larry Cooper, building inspector Christopher Newman, financial director and deputy financial director. Financial director is Pauline Carey, and deputy financial director is Janet Bockerty. Fire chief Ron Hines, volunteer deputy chief Josh Therick, volunteer first assistant chief Chad Crandall, Volunteer Second Assistant Chief Doug Rader. Volunteer Secretary Treasurer Jeremy James. Golf Course Superintendent Jesse Hayek. Human Relations Manager Nathan Hofer. Library Director Angela Bailey. Parks and Recreation Director Chad Schroeder. Planning Director Barry Cranston. Police Chief Kevin Van Diepen. Solid Waste Superintendent Dale Fortin. Street Superintendent Bob Simpson. Water Sewer Superintendent Rob Rieger. Those are our appointed officers and department head for May 2nd, 2022. I need a roll call vote, a motion to approve and a second.
Motion to approve the officer.
Motion to approve, Commissioner Bragg, second.
Second?
Commissioner Smith. Any questions on this item? Seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Smith.
Aye.
Weinreich.
Aye.
Bragg.
Aye.
Robish.
Aye.
Mayor Harrington.
Aye. Okay. Next up, we're going to go through each commissioner and what his liaison departments are. And these will be the departments that they will be dealing with for the next year. So with that, I'll start out with Brian Smith. Brian Smith is Finance and Revenue Commissioner. His departments of liaison is Finance and Golf. Drew Weinrich is our Public Works Commissioner. He deals with our engineering, library, and streets. Rich Bragg is our Utilities Commissioner. He deals with Park and Recreation, solid waste, and wastewater treatment. Mark Robish, he's with the Public Safety Commission. His liaison is public building inspections and code enforcement, fire, and police and dispatch. And lastly, Gary Harrington is the mayor, and my liaisons are airport, city attorney, HR manager, planning director, public buildings, and streetlights. I'd entertain a motion to approve those board adjustments and department liaisons.
Motion to approve 11.2.
Second.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Weinrich, second by Commissioner Robish. Roll call vote, please.
Smith.
Aye.
Weinreich.
Aye.
Bragg.
Aye.
Robish.
Aye.
Mayor Harrington.
Aye. Moving on to 11.3, I'm going to call on our police chief, Kevin Van Diepen, to explain to us what 11.3 is.
Thank you, Mayor, Commissioners. What we're asking for permission to do is the same thing we've done for about the last 10 years. We apply to the federal government for highway safety grant funds. It covers overtime so we can have the officers out enforcing speed and seatbelt violations in the city. There is a 20% match to that. The best part about that is our patrol officers on normal patrol cover that 20% match, so there's no extra money that comes out of our hands. Last year we asked for $19,476. This year we're going to ask for roughly $1,000 more than that. What I need is approval to apply for the grant, where I can sign that, and also have permission to sign to accept those dollars.
Move to approve.
Move to approve, Commissioner Bragg. And second?
Second.
Second, Commissioner Robish. Any questions for Kevin on this item? Yes?
Is this a gimme, like we apply for it, we always get it, or we could be denied, or?
We could be denied if we don't have the enforcement hours that we put in for it. The last 2 years, we have not had a problem spending that money. It kind of offsets, it gets the officers on the street to do the traffic that regular officers wouldn't have to do. So it's $20,000 of pretty much free money to enforce traffic laws.
Any other questions for this, from Kevin?
Just for Mr. Weinreich's questions, and Commissioner Bragg, I know you're here, but we usually do this in the spring, and they usually do it's not that we're out there sitting there watching for seat belts and we gotta pull everybody over if they're not wearing their seat belts, but in the spring of the year, there's more out there driving, it's nice and whatever, so that's why it comes around each year in the spring.
Correct.
It's a good reminder.
Yep.
Any other for Kevin on this? Seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Smith.
Aye.
Weinreich.
Aye.
Bragg.
Aye.
Robish.
Aye.
Mayor Harrington.
Aye. 11.4, we're gonna have Chad come up front here. Chad, our IT specialist, is going to explain to us 11.4 and 11.5. Chad, you're up on 4.
So 11.4, I believe, is the rules of engagement with the cybersecurity, and this is in the agenda. I thought it was the ROE first. Oh, the first one, if that's the one it is, the 11.4, that is to ask the mayor, if the commission will allow the mayor to sign the agreements with the CISA, which is the Cybersecurity and Information Infrastructure Security Agency, which is a branch of the government. In what they do is they help government, local, state, patrol and due diligence for cybersecurity and keeping our network safe and our information safe. So what these contracts are for is the CISA offers what they call cyber hygiene services. So we can test ourselves against phishing attacks, which are emails directed to try and get people to click links, to go places to get things to install on your computers. Also, any web-facing applications we have, they do penetration testings on those and vulnerability testings to see if they can find weaknesses in them so that we can fortify those. And I believe we also we did ask for penetration testings, which means they actually try to actively attack our network and see how far they can get into it and what they can get access to.
I'm just going to have a quick note. I was in my first board meeting with the South Dakota Public Assurance Alliance, and CISA was presenting because it's becoming such an issue with liability that they're actually looking at not having coverage anymore for these things, and recommended this. And I texted Chad and I go, isn't this what we're doing? Yes, we are.
This is also the
So-
organization that we signed in November to do our endpoint protection versus another product. So we're kind of going under one house with some of our outside security to make sure that I'm doing my job right and that we are as safe as possible.
Okay.
Is that the branch that Madison is gearing up and?
I don't know if DSU, you mean?
Yeah.
I don't know if they're working directly with CISA on that, or if that's their own program through the state or through the PAA.
Both is what I heard last week. CISA is a separate entity from Dakota State. But the South Dakota Public Assurance Alliance is also working with Dakota State.
So yet this year, maybe next year, we'll also have that we'll be trying to tie into for some other security practices.
Is there a cost to this, Chad?
This is actually free to state and local government. So it's, yeah, started to do this right after we signed the other agreements for the endpoint security. It's just with everything going on in the world, they're 4 months behind getting back to people to get everyone rolling on stuff. So they're busy.
Okay, that's 11.4. We need a motion to approve. Have we already done that? So let's
We
vote.
need a motion.
Need a motion? Motion to approve.
Move to approve.
Commissioner Smith moves to approve. Need a second?
Second.
Commissioner Bragg seconds it. Now we have a motion to approve. We can have a roll call vote, please.
Smith.
Aye.
Weinreich.
Aye.
Bragg.
Aye.
Robish.
Aye.
Mayor Harrington.
Aye. Chad, 11.5.
Okay, so 11.5, I had my backwards. 11.5 is the CISA rules of engagement. This is the policies, procedures of how they do business and how they do business with us and what they expect from us. On the contract, it does say that the signing authority is the Chief Information Officer, so I asked the commission to allow me to sign as the Chief Information Officer for this.
I think they're switched around.
Yeah, I think on the agenda, I
So-
think it was, they were
So the mayor
backwards.
needs to sign the first one, but you sign the second one?
Right.
Need a motion to approve?
So
Second.
Mr. Bragg Motion's to approve, second, Mr. Weinrich. Any questions for Chad on this topic? Seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Smith,
Aye.
Weinreich,
Aye.
Bragg,
Aye.
Robert,
Aye.
Mayor Harrington.
Aye. Thank you, Chad. With that, we're done for the evening, folks. Thank you. I know, I knew you were waiting.